Hey folks, it's Randy Wilburn from I Am Northwest Arkansas. I'm coming at you live today on a Sunday of all days. Just wanted to share some thoughts that I had about everything that's going on. I couldn't sit idly by and just let this moment pass me in the sense of kind of sharing my thoughts. I wanted to be transparent with the audience of I Am Northwest Arkansas. I've spoken to a lot of you in person. Some of you don't know who I am from Adam. That's totally fine. But I am the voice behind the podcast that a lot of you listen to on a regular basis. Some of you just know me through Facebook. Some of you just know me through Instagram. I appreciate each and every one of you. I just decided today that I was going to do something a little different. To be perfectly transparent and honest with you, I haven't really been in the mood to record a podcast, even though it's something that I do on a regular basis. And as most of you know that listen to the podcast, a new episode comes out every Monday, but I wasn't sure if I was going to operate with business as usual, given everything that's going on in our world. The pandemic, of course, which I've talked about ad nauseum on the podcast, encouraging everyone to stay safe, encouraging everyone to um, make the most of this situation that we have where a lot of us are spending copious amounts of time at home, copious amounts of extra time with our family, which, I mean, who could complain about that? And I think there's also just the issue of everything that's going on in our country with regard to race relations. George Floyd's senseless murder on Monday evening. Obviously, as a black man, I take offense to what happened to this 46-year-old man who still had a lot of life to live. I'm saddened by the senseless act of his death. I'm saddened by some of the things that have happened since with the rioters and the looters and all of that stuff. But sometimes things like this have to happen in order for change to happen. And make no mistake about it, I'm not into the looting and the rioting. I don't see any purpose behind it, but I understand it. In the sense that sometimes you have to go through some things to experience change. And man, I want to say as an African American more so than anything else, I've really been appreciative of all of my white brothers and sisters that have reached out to me, that have shared, that have asked how I'm doing. And I'm not standing in judgment of those that haven't. It's people have to live their lives. I get it. I totally understand it. But I will say this, and this is something that I really want to, I really want people to hear because I don't know who's watching this or who will listen, but I'm actually going to turn this into my podcast episode for tomorrow. Is just to kind of tell you that, you know what? The only way that we're ever going to get through this situation in this country, in the United States of America, hence the word united, is to be united as one. Black, white, Jew, Gentile, we all have to come together and deal with the injustice that does exist in our society. There's so many in leadership that don't want to acknowledge it. And that's honestly a story for another day. I don't really have the time for that. What I do have the time for is to lob encouragement to all of you that are fighting the good fight, to all of you that want to be heard, that feel like your voice matters, all of our voices matter. But more importantly, I think it's time for us to stop sitting on the sidelines. So, for many of us that grew up with sports analogies or understanding the fact that, you know what, we've got to be willing to get in the field of play, I'm encouraging you now to get off the bench and get in the field of play, whatever that means for you, whether you're black or white. I don't really care. I think it's just the reality of where we are right now and what we need to do. And so I just wanted to share some thoughts that I had as again as an African American, as a black man in America, as a father of three young African American boys that I have to teach and show the way so that they can become upstanding citizens of this great country. As a husband, as a son, I have obviously, as a lot of us do, have a lot of mantles that I wear, and I just, it's hard right now. It really is. I'll be honest with you. I'm not one to wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm not one to allow situations to get the best of me. But I think enough is enough. We've got to do better as a country. We have to do better as a people. And I just really want to encourage those that are listening to this to think about ways that you can improve upon your current condition or the current situation that you see right in front of you, whatever that means for you. And it was hard because I didn't want to push out another episode on Monday and act as if it's just business as usual, because it really isn't. I thought, wow, what else could I do? Could I share how I'm feeling? Will I scare people away? Will all of a sudden people say that guy that talks about I am Northwest Arkansas, I'm really not interested in him anymore because now he's making it a black white thing. It's not what I'm doing. What I am doing is shedding light on our current state of affairs here in America, and those affairs need to be checked. They need to be changed. They need to be challenged at every step of the way. And really, this is just me sharing more than anything else. It's agendaless in the sense that I'm not here to cast aspersions on anyone. I am here to shine a light on racism that exists in this country, how pervasive it's been. I mean, it was for my grandfather back in the 20s when a shopkeeper told him, Mal, you'll never be able to go to college and get a degree and be a lawyer. And, no one's ever going to hire a black lawyer, to this day, 2020, where we're still confronted with racism at every turn. And some of us acknowledge it, some of us don't. And that is the challenge that we face right now. And I just really want to encourage anyone listening to this to be willing to speak up, to be willing to check in with your African American friends and ask them how they're doing. And, this obviously took a lot for me, because one of the reasons why I created this particular podcast, one of the reasons why I created I Am Northwest Arkansas, is because I wanted to just give a voice to anybody. The whole focus of this podcast and of I Am Northwest Arkansas is the intersection of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life in the Ozarks. I've been here now in the Ozarks in Northwest Arkansas for almost 6 years. I love it. I love the people here. You guys are absolutely amazing. One of the things I thought about was, man, I really want to have more black people move here. I mean, we have a few, but not that many. Let's face it. I mean, Arkansas is population wise is statistically a white state, but there's still a lot of African Americans that are here. There's still a lot that are still in the Delta, that are in Central Arkansas, and then of course we have a lot of African Americans that come to Northwest Arkansas for the big three, right? Walmart, Tyson, JB Hunt. Obviously, those companies are foundations or pillars of our country from a commerce perspective. And one of the things that they want to do is hire the best and brightest, which includes minorities, which includes African Americans. But a lot of times I've heard from people say, well, I don't want to come to Northwest Arkansas because it's just all white people here. And I'm the first one to say, no, you really need to come check it out for yourself. You need to understand what Northwest Arkansas is all about, why this place is different. And I really feel like it's different. But that doesn't mean that there aren't problems here. And again, the purpose of this particular podcast was not to highlight any issues that we have. My heart was really warmed by seeing the outpouring of support. There was a walk on Lake Fayetteville the other day. There was a peaceful protest and vigil that took place right on North College, over by North College in Lafayette, just yesterday afternoon. I'm seeing all kinds of outpourings of support by people of every hue and every color in this area. And anyone listening to this that's not from Northwest Arkansas, that's thinking about moving here, this episode is certainly not a commercial for you to move to Northwest Arkansas, although I would love for you to move here. People are definitely different here. At least that's been my experience. I realize racism exists everywhere, and I can go a couple of miles in one direction and end up in a place where there is a huge movement of white supremacists. And so I'm fully aware of that. I am not stupid. I get that. But there's something about this bubble that is Northwest Arkansas, but it's important for us to get the message out about this area and what makes it so special. and I believe it's the people, right? Every area that's special is special because of its people, not because of monuments, not because of places or trails or any of that stuff or companies. It's special because of its people. And so, I just really wanted to share that message, and I really wanted to encourage you. For somebody needed to hear that today. Somebody needed a little bit of encouragement about this, and to recognize that, what, we can get through this. I believe, even though some of our U.S. cities, the streets are still smoldering. There are burnt out cars. There are burnt out buildings. Businesses have been lost. Lives have been lost. For what? Right? You have to ask yourself that question. Why is this happening? And I want to encourage you in the same way that I'm encouraging me. And obviously, that's the reason why I just flipped my camera on today. I've got all this great equipment. I might as well share my message. I might as well get the word out and encourage people to you step out of your comfort zone and be that change that you want to see happen. Now, I know some of you may not necessarily realize that there needs to be a whole lot of change because things are good for you and you can go to your country clubs and do all this other stuff. But the reality is that if some of us are struggling, theoretically, all of us are struggling. You just may not realize it. And so I really want to encourage you. Again, this is not an indictment to my white brothers and sisters. This is just the reality of the times that we live in. It's 2020, and we still have a long way to go. We're searching for ways to get off of this planet so that we can go to a better place because maybe some of us are sick and tired of what's happening here, and we use that as an excuse. As excited as I am to see SpaceX and the launch and all that, we got a lot of problems right here that we have to solve. Because let's face it, if we go and colonize other planets, all we're going to do is take our problems from here to there. It's not like it's just that those problems are going to go away. This stuff is going to last because it starts with people. It starts with individuals. So I just really want to encourage you. And for me, and what I'm sharing now, I'm putting myself out there because I've never made my podcast about race. I've never made anything that I've talked about race. I've looked at individuals for who they are. I've wanted people to tell their stories and share their stories of highs and lows in their lives, black and white. I don't care where you come from. Everybody has a story to tell. I've just decided that I'm really going to tell my story today, and I'm really going to encourage others to do the same. And so that's why I wanted to just kind of share this and encourage you to, step out of your comfort zone. Do something that you have never done before. If you're a white person, a Caucasian, and you have black friends, reach out to them. Ask them, how do they feel? Is there anything I can do for you? Please educate me on this. Why do you feel the way that you feel? A lot of times people think, oh, well, these are dumb questions. These should never, I don't know why I would bring this up. I don't want people to think I'm stupid or anything like that. That's not the situation. And to my African-American brothers and sisters out there, if anybody does come to you and ask you for wisdom, ask you for some understanding about how you're feeling, don't dismiss them. Don't push it off. I know you might be angry by everything that's going on, but at this point in time, when that happens and that door opens, that's when the dialogue has to start. And so I really want to encourage you right now to consider what does that dialogue look like? What are you going to say to your white brothers and sisters that are asking, hey, help me help you? How do I be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem? And I just really want to encourage anyone that's listening to this to be mindful of that. If folks are trying, let them try. Don't get all pissed off and upset that, oh man, it took George Floyd to die before you call me up and ask me, what can I help you do as an African American, or what are you struggling with? Just have the conversation with them. I realize I have more white people that watch or listen to this podcast than black people, and that's fine. I'm here for everybody as far as that's concerned. But I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, if you are part of my tribe, my I Am Northwest Arkansas tribe, the people that are so excited about this area and what it represents, we can be changed right here in Northwest Arkansas, right here in the Ozarks. I tell people all the time, you think of like St. Louis as the gateway to the West. Well, back in the day, historically, this was the wild, wild West. When you got to Northwest Arkansas, you were as west as they could be. We might as well be in California for that matter. And, this was a place where people came for new opportunities. and people are still coming here in 2020 for new opportunities. And I think as citizens of Northwest Arkansas, we all need to be stepping up our game to make everyone feel welcomed, to allow everyone to be a part of what we're trying to do here. We can, if I may use this again. I mean, America is an interesting country because yes, we are stand on the Native Americans that were here before us. So they were making this place a wonderful and a great place, if you will, and we have an opportunity to build upon that. Regardless of what the history says, we can still improve the situation. We can still move it in a positive way and not create, um, I don't know, division amongst us, whether it's black and white division or whether it's just division between classes. There's so much that we can do to improve the situation. So I just really want to encourage you to be thinking about what that change looks like for you and how you're going to move forward. I got to be honest, I was really, really struggling. Every Friday, I send out a newsletter to the people that are on my email list, and I honestly just didn't feel like sending out a letter. I didn't know what to say. I didn't have words to say or to share how I felt because I was really angry by everything that's taken place in these past few days. And it wasn't just George Floyd. That really was the kicker for me. I'm just upset by how we've dealt with this pandemic and how things have shaken out and how over 100,000 lives were lost in the last 120 plus days. Let that sink in. That's crazy. And so I mean, it kind of all came down on me at once. And then what I witnessed on Memorial Day evening, and then trying to explain that to my 15-year-old son when he says, "Well, Dad, this dude complied with the cops. Why is he dead?" I don't have an answer for him. I just don't have an answer. So I just wanted to share that and put it out there for those of you that listen to this. And if all of a sudden you don't are not interested in the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast anymore because of what I brought to light, then I appreciate the time that you did share with me, and I hope that things continue to move forward for you in your life with your family. I wish you nothing but peace and prosperity. For those that are just discovering me now, this is not all I talk about, but it is top of mind for me right now because this is the real issue that we're facing. And I think too often we go on and are not willing to bring up topics of race and bring up topics of injustice in our country and in our world. And I just chose to do that now. And I hope that you take something away from it that is helpful for you. I hope that you take something away from this that allows you to start thinking differently about how you can really be part of that change. That's for everybody. We all need to be part of the change. As an African American male, there are things that I have to change in terms of how I even deal with this, in terms of me even bringing it up, right? Too often I'm like, if I'm okay, then everything's okay. That's not the reality because my brother or sister down the street may not be okay. And me standing silent is killing them. And it's the same situation for all of us. We have to look at that and look at how our brothers and sisters are struggling out there, black or white. But right now I'm dealing with my brown brothers and sisters, and I'm just encouraging folks to reach out and lend a helping hand when and where possible. I appreciate just the time that people take to engage with me online at iamnorthwestarkansas.com. I appreciate all of the ears that listen to this podcast. We're going to continue to do what we do on a regular basis, but I'm going to push to create more conversations that will help us bridge the gap that we have in this country. And no place is perfect, even Northwest Arkansas. We've got our own issues here we've got to overcome, but I believe we can do it because and I'm not. Well, yes, I'll just say it. In the Bible, there's a scripture where it talks about how one person can put 1,000 to flight, but when two people come together, they can do 10x that. So there is such a thing as power in agreement. If you agree with me and you understand where I'm coming from, and I can understand where you're coming from, there can be power there. And I want to encourage you, just be that other person that can put action, can put words to action and make something happen. I really believe that this will make a difference, and I want to encourage you today to just be thinking about, be mindful of ways that you can do it, whether you meditate or pray, or whether you believe in God or don't believe in God. I just want you to be thinking about this. Yes, am I my brother's keeper? Is not a rhetorical question. Yes, I am my brother's keeper, and I'll leave you with that. And I guess, hey, at this point, I've kind of put myself out there. I've kind of let you know how I feel about the situation. I'm not one to put my emotions on my sleeve. I care about each and every person that listens to the podcast, that supports what I'm doing here in Northwest Arkansas. I really appreciate everyone of every color that is in my life, speaking into my life, encouraging me, and a part of who I am as a person. I appreciate you. Make no mistake about it. I don't think we say that enough, but I'm saying it right now. And for those of you that are listening that know me, just know that I appreciate you. If you're listening to this and you've just listened to me via podcast, or just watching some of my videos on Instagram, I appreciate you. I appreciate each and every person that takes time out of their day just to take in what I have to share. And again, I'm not Martin Luther King. I'm not Toni Morrison. I am not James Baldwin. I'm Randy Wilburn. I am a 50-year-old black male that believes that the glass is half full at all times, no matter what I see in front of me. And I certainly can use some help at this moment in time, given everything that's going on, to be reminded of how full the glass actually is, and that we have a lot further to go, but we can get there. And that, of course, there's more with us than there are against us. So that's encouraging as well. But that's all I have to share with you today. I hope that this podcast finds you well. If you are elsewhere in another part of this country and you are contemplating moving to Northwest Arkansas because you have interviewed for a job here with Walmart or JB Hunt or Tyson, give them a fair shake. This is a great place. There are great people here in Northwest Arkansas. Racism is everywhere, so you have to deal with it no matter what. But if I had to choose, I would choose Northwest Arkansas as a place to live, as a place to raise a family. And I am appreciative of all the things that are happening in and around this area. And I'm even more so warmed, and my heart's warmed by all those people that have reached out to me, especially over the last few days, given everything that's going on in this world, to check in with me, to encourage me, to provide some love, and to just say, hey, I'm here if you need anything. Honestly, at the end of the day, that's all that you could ever do. So I just want to encourage you, be that change for other people, be that check-in, be that call, be that text. It doesn't take much. A simple text is, hey, how are you doing with everything that's happening right now? And just wait for them to respond, see what they say. So that's all I have for you today. I probably rambled on more than I should have. Again, this was not a prepared statement because I didn't want it to be that. I just wanted to share from the heart. So it's not formulaic. It's not, oh, well, he had an agenda to get across. I have no agenda other than love. So let that sit with you, however it does. And if you're still with me after you listen to this, then check me out online at iamnorthwestarkansas.com. You can check me out right here on this Facebook page. You can check me out anywhere that podcast can be found at I Am Northwest Arkansas. And believe you me, we will keep the podcast coming. We may expand a bit with regard to some of the conversations that we have because I think we need to have them. But that's kind of all that I have right now. That's what I wanted to share with you. So I hope that you have an amazing Sunday. For those of you that are here in Northwest Arkansas, the weather is beautiful. Get out, talk to somebody, go grab a bagel or a scone or get a cup of coffee from my folks at Onyx, or do whatever you need to do. Go float the buffalo. If, I guess if you're allowed to at this point, I'm assuming you are. Whatever you need to do to get yourself right for the new week ahead, and just be mindful that some people right now are struggling, and it's okay to check in on them to make sure that they're okay, and to tell them that you're thinking about them, and in some instances to tell them that you love them. So I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing day. And if this resonates with you in any way, please share it both near and far. I would certainly appreciate that. And I'll be back with more. I've got, like I said, I've got this whole new system here, got my little virtual background in the back. I'll be sharing more thoughts and ideas, and I'm going to be doing some more specific things as it pertains to shows for I Am Northwest Arkansas, talking about a lot of different topics. Of course, keeping it within the vein of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life here in the Ozarks, because I'm going to tell you, it's good here. And if you don't know, now you know. This is Randy Wilburn. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I will see you soon. Peace.